It's part of our program here that we have is a 4-month program or a 3.5-month program. We're trying to get to Ramadan. We are on a very tight schedule. Okay? This section that we're doing now, these 4 poems that we're doing, we did the first part. The intro was 5. The first is the introduction. Okay? Alhamdulillah for the Lord Supreme who's been so kind to the Muslimin, sending Islam with Muhammad to teach. We study his actions and come on, we study his actions and Quranic in nature, the model of fiqh. So take from the Prophet what? Taubah has plotted to sketch in our minds a drawing of fiqh in a graphic design, imagining deeply our hearts with delight and through
outlining fiqh that is spark with
delight. That spark with ignite. Our mindset, our man. Let me hear that part.
Our mindset, our manners, our conduct and attack.
The laws of behavior and
how we should act.
Fiqh is divided in 4 major parts. Okay? Ibadah is drawn from the
Fiqh of the heart.
business transactions with all of its deals and family. Family provisions, including the meals, legal procedures, offenses of law, right? Of law. Now, this is one section, even though there's 2 terms here, legal procedures and offenses of law. There are 2 statements because those are 2 separate terms, because under this one title, there's 2 angles of legal procedures. You get my point? Yes or no?
Yes.
The guys, ladies should not out yell you, okay? And family provisions, including the what?
Bills.
Okay, business transactions with all of its
Bills.
Okay, then ibadah. Okay, so we have 4 types of things here, right? The first, the introduction portion that we did is to help us understand what is fiqh, right? And who is the author and what is the purpose for this text. Everybody follow me? Yeah. When we recite this, when you memorize this, it will be enough for you as a muqaddimah, as an introduction to the subject of fiqh. And that's why we're studying it here. Okay? So that we would have in our minds, as competent adults, we would know the table of contents. At least that much. Does that make sense? Yes. All right. So, ibadah is drawn from the fiqh of the hearts, right? Put under ibadah the worshiping laws, right? What type of laws? Worshiping laws. What are the worshiping laws? The actions that stem from the slave
to his Lord.
Think about that, what that is. And that will give you the practical application of what ibadah is, what worshiping laws are. All the actions that stem from the slave, and we want them to go to Allah. So yuqarribuna ilallahi zulfa, to bring us closer to Allah. What are they? Aqeedah, tahara, preceding salah, and janazas for all when the. So we put him right here for me. Come on, quickly, so I can talk. Aqeedah, tahara, preceding salah. Make it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, but put it over here, like so it's like under the text, okay? Like an outline, okay? Okay, Aqeedah, tahara, preceding salah, and janazas for all when the rich pay. Siyam, i'tikaf, if we're spending the night in a hajj for whoever can. So Aqeedah is the first tahara of our hearts, right? It's the tahara of our mindset, right? In this section, we're only number it. Aqeedah, tahara, preceding salah. No, number it. Yeah. Oh, that's 1? Get a line, because I don't know what that is. Okay? No, just okay. So Aqeedah, when we're talking about Aqeedah here, we're only talking about Iman in what? Bil Ghaib. Thank you. Iman in what? Bil Ghaib. Why is that? Why do we focus on that here? Come on, if you don't know. You don't know.
First commandment of Allah.
Thank you very much. Knowing why is very important. We're only focusing on Iman bil Ghaib in this outline. Aqeedah is a long subject. It belongs in its own section by itself. Because there's 2 types of fiqh. There's fiqh al-akbar and fiqh al-asghar. Fiqh al-akbar is the fiqh of Aqeedah and all those issues of Tawheed and Iman and those things like that. But here we're putting it here. Okay, we're mentioning only one part of it. What part of it? Iman bil Ghaib. What does Iman bil Ghaib mean? Believe okay, about the realm of the unseen, right? No. You know, we believe and even dream of beings, places we might go, events that happen long ago or might be happening very soon. He said now. And things that hint of our doom. So there's 4 sections of the knowledge of the unseen things. Okay? There are unseen beings like Allah, His angels, right? The prophets that came before, the people that came before, the Hurul Ain, right? the Daba, the Dajjal, the Shayateen, wal Jan. Right? We got the Juj wa Ma'juj. These are all unseen beings. Does that make sense? But if you've seen any of these, be careful. Except for the angels, you know. So we have beings, and after beings, places we might go, right? The barzakh after death, right?
No.
Jannah wa Nar, the mounts of A'raf, right? From Surah Al-A'raf. Right? You guys get my point? Al-Hawd, right? These are all the different places we might go here. Okay? The places we might go are things that happen, events that took place long ago, like all the stories of the prophets. All the different stories we have of the prophets and all the stories we have of the people of the past, right? Or might be happening very soon. We're talking about the 10 major signs of the last day. Okay, the first of them was the death of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these are the things that we believe in, and we have to know them. I'm only mentioning them here, the Aqeedah things here, so that we know that here we're only focusing on Iman bil Ghaib. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts Surah Al-Fatiha. Surah Al-Fatiha after saying Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلَّذِينَ بِالْغَيْبِ. He says الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. And he focuses on Al-Ghaib, and he doesn't deal with other issues of Iman at that moment. Right? And then he leaves it and goes on to الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ. So we go from that. And the only reason we put tahara between them is because tahara precedes salah because it's a condition of salah. Does that make sense? So understand why we put it in this order is as important as that we put it in this order. Does that make sense? So, ibadah, okay, so Aqidah Tahara preceding Salah, a janazah is for all, when the rich pay janazah, then the rich pay zakat. Siyam, i'tikaf, and that's the only reason we put janazah between Salah. The ulama of the past never would like to put any chapter between Salah except for janazah. I'm sorry, besides between Salah and zakat. Why? Because Allah says in the Quran, zakat. And many times in the Quran, Allah mentions the salah and then the zakat, side by side. And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said, I'll go to war with anybody who separates and differentiates between the salah and zakat. And he considered them people kafirs, and he went to war against them. Does that make sense? So, but the only reason we put janazah, because janazah is not just a salah, it is how we prepare the body, right? How we prepare the grave, the process of the salah, and the process of entering and even burying him. All that's part of janazah. Does that make sense? Yes. So it's not just a salah, the different types of salah that we may have, like a salatul duha or isha and those things like that. Everybody follow me? Yeah. All right. So then we have zakat. And we say there's two forms of zakat. There's zakatul mal, zakatul fitr, right? But we're talking about zakatul mal right here. Not to be confused with sadaqah. Okay? So Hajj. And the Hajj for whoever know. When the rich pays zakat, siyam i'tikaf, if you spend it the night. Siyam i'tikaf. Siyam i'tikaf. If you spend it the night, and a Hajj for whoever can pay for the flight. I'tikaf. And Hajj. Okay, so now we have all the issues of ibadah. Doesn't it feel good that you can know, say, I know all the topics of ibadah. And then you can say comprehensively, I know all these things. And hold on, I may not know one of them. Let me go and find out more about the one I don't know about. Right? So that I can be competent in that particular area. Or more competent. And now I don't have this feeling of the sickness of ignorance. It's fear, right? No. It's uncomfortability. It causes dis-ease, or as they call it, disease. And now when that's gone, there's a sense of tranquility, sakina. You guys follow me? All right. So now let's move to business transactions. At business transactions, right, capital risk. In the fiqh of the slave as he trades to exist. So over here in ibadah is the worshiping laws. In the actions that stem from the slave. So at business transactions we write capital risk. Why is it capital risk there, Ibn Dawood? Well, there's a risk there. Capital is referring to what?
Money.
Money. Money, money, money. Hard money. And that's not paper. Real money. Right? Again, knowing the world, why did they kill Gaddafi?
Gold money.
Gold money, because he was going to put real money into circulation.
That's what he got to Iran.
And if he put his real money into circulation, that changes the whole world order. Dollar is what it was, nothing. The petrodollar turns into the petty dollar. Does that make sense? Why did they go after Saddam, their main man, their boy? Because he was going to change that oil into euros. He was going to stop selling it. I'm going to flip that petrodollar and I'm going to put it on the euro. They went and they got that money out fast. That's why you see that what they were doing, they were pulling the money out more than anything else. Does that make sense? Pay attention. And now they're going to start with Iran because they say, yo, we found oil too. Why do you think they've been blocking, Sudan for the last 30 years and pushing the supply? They've been pushing supply because Sudan has more oil than Saudi and Kuwait. And because Sudan at that time was the largest country in Africa with 11 countries on its border. Everybody's Sudanese. So you give them money, you give them that ability, now you done changed the whole world. And they got diamonds. Does that make sense? So we have to make this destabilize the area so that they cannot get it out. I call it the rule of Ibn Abi Talib. That's Fiqh. They kept Ibn Abi Talib, Ali Ibn Abi Talib busy. He couldn't do and use what he could do during his khilafah because he's putting out fires. Does that make sense? So we have to understand the fiqh of what's going on, what's really going on. And that takes learning how to not just read what was said, but understand the objective of the speaker. Okay? And that's not going to be done by watching Netflix. Serious. So, or maybe you're watching October. Maybe he will get done by watching Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So I went off on a tangent. We come back, now we're in business transactions. At business transactions, right, capital risk. In the fiqh of the slave as he trades to exist. Think about it. Because what we're doing here is we're putting it in practical terms. Okay? Without taking away from the technical precision of the meaning. At business transactions, right? I keep saying it because I want you to say it. You got it on paper. At business transactions, right? In the fiqh of the slave as he trades. And that's what business is, trading. He's buying my money, I'm buying his pen. That's what he's buying. That's why bay is the same word. It means buying and selling because I'm buying his pen, he's buying my money. So it's trade. Does that make sense? In the fiqh of the slave as he trades to exist. Understand the fiqh of that. Understand the fiqh of that line. The Muslim ummah can never go only as far as its economics will take it. Wati Muhammad said that, rahimahullah, back in the 80s, when he had that TV show. The ummah can only go far as its economics will take it. And the proof that he said, when they made hijrah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa radiyallahu anhu, then the Muslim ummah, the Islamic state was begun. On trade. What was better about it? Money. Okay? Getting that trade. Protecting those caravans and getting your things done. Does that make sense? There are practical reasons for everything. We talk about the Ottoman Empire, which was the greatest Islamic empire for the longest amount of time. What did they have? Trade. They controlled all the trade. The Mediterranean was ours. Okay? It was straight ours. But the piracy was from the Europeans trying to stop the trade in the Mediterranean. Does that make sense? No. The Barbary Wars or the Barbary pirates. All this world history is Islamic history. And you can learn that just when you talked about the story of Abraha and and Al-Fil and Dhul-Nawas and all these things. Is all world history up into today. and everything that's going on. So if you look at that empire, what did they have? There was trade going on. And as long as that trade was there, you can't exist. Okay? Everybody has to understand what happens at the end of a war. The loser buys the winner's stuff. That's all it is. No, you now go into a trade agreement where you got to buy my junk at high prices. And I take all your good stuff. You get my point?
Now they go and tear up your stuff, and you gotta buy
Tear up your stuff, mess up your land,
and you gotta buy
right? And then not even fix it up. We pull the oil out, but that don't mean we fixing it up. There ain't no company saying nothing. We got to do nothing here. We taking it, we refine it somewhere else, we sell it back to you. Your stuff. Okay? No canneries in Africa. So even the fish they get got to be canned someplace else. Get my point? No metal places where they break the rock down and turn it into metal. We got to take it, ship it elsewhere and get it done there. Actually, there's one. They're building a second one now. Okay? And then they had these so-called people on time saying, oh, why do you need a second one in Africa? Man, we only got one. The African continent is bigger than the whole world. You get my point? So that trade keeps you knocked down. Not being able to trade. So understand in the line is telling you, it's the fiqh of the slave as he trades to exist. The fiqh of finance is just a loftier term for the money we borrow and struggle to earn. Contracts and sharing if profits are made, and the techniques to use in the practice of trade. That's the definition of this fiqh. Does that make sense? Read it again. Come on, quickly. Read it. No. At business transactions.
Business transactions with capital risk, the fiqh of the slave as he trades to exist, the fiqh of the finances of loftier term, it's the money we borrow and struggle to earn, contracts and sharing if profits are made, the techniques to use in the practice of trade. Now buying is bayah in general.
Okay. Now that's what I want you to do it again. Listen. Listen to it. Now I want you, when you recite this, I want you to be there. Because you know, you have to understand this for what it is. Because we're drawing in your mind a graph, right? Not a graph, we're drawing a picture of fiqh. So you say fiqh is divided in?
4 major parts.
I don't like that. Give me some rhythm. Fiqh is divided in?
4 major parts.
4 major parts. So now you have a ibadah, business transactions, you know, family provisions, including the
meals,
legal procedures, offenses of law. Then under these titles make
everything falls.
So you say at ibadah, right? Put under ibadah. You see how you're writing it down? Then you say at business transactions, right? Capital risk. You see what I'm saying? That's what I want you to say. At business transactions, right?
Capital risk.
In the fiqh of the slave as he trades to exist. Showing how important it is. That's why it comes before family life. Business comes right after ibadah. That's fiqh too. Does that make sense? Yes. What they used to say back in the day? No romance without finance. That was true. It was true. The mothers have to break it to the girl. Listen, baby, he broke. But he's cute. We're going to get one dude that's not broke. Right?
Cuban with some money.
Even if not the money, some idea to make money. It's a desire to make money. Okay? Right, you got to have a plan and some movement. So we have to understand that even putting this in this order is part of our fiqh. Okay? First, it's me and my Lord. Okay? Me and my Lord. Then it's me and my trade. Because now I have to be competent. I have to have a skill. No skill, we can't go further. There is no more the establishment of no Islamic world. Where is it? When you have no skill. We don't have our own butcher. We don't have our own, city planner. We don't have our own car manufacturer. Then where are we going? How are we going to establish a society? No, I'm not saying in actuality. I'm saying.
I'm just kidding.
No. But you guys get my point? You have to have these skills. If you don't have these skills, then you don't have the ability to go further in the pyramid of what life is all about. Does that make sense? You have to go outside and make sure she gets in.
So that's what Warith D. Muhammad was saying as far as you won't go as far as the
Right,
economics.
you can only go as far as your economics can take you.
He was stopped.
You know, but the point is this.
Set up the trade with China. He was stopped by the.
I'm not saying it not. I'm pointing to just the point that he's making, that whatever we're going to do on an individual level, first of all, there is no individual level. Okay? There's only you being interdependent. Being capable enough to join with other bunch of people who are capable enough for then you can synergize. Right? And make the greater whole of what you're making quadruple what you're making individually and add it up together. Does that make sense?
No.
This is what Allah says in the Quran, ta'awunu 'alal birri wat taqwa. To cooperate and unite with each other, 'alal birri wat taqwa. This is Islam. This is our fiqh. In an application in a realistic sense. Does that make sense? So, this is why you have to know the techniques of trade, or you're going to get suckered. Seriously. I'm still paying my medical school bills even though I dropped out. You think I ain't? They don't care you dropped out, sucker. Hey, you said you was going to do this. I said, what about the Pell Grant and all that? Ain't no medical school going for no Pell Grant, okay? You know, you get my point, guys? So, and that was years ago. So, you know, you have to understand, if I'd have known some more, I would have maybe made some other decisions, right? Because knowledge allows you to make better decisions. Okay? So, and make better deals. So that's why I said the fiqh is not just what we say, but the order we put it in. Okay? Because it's not just making the recipe say, oh, you put these ingredients in. Nah, it's how you put that stuff in there that makes the food taste good. So, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. So, at business transactions, we write capital risk. In the fiqh of the slave as he
Trade to exist.
the fiqh of finance is just a loftier term for the money we borrow and struggle
to earn.
Why do we say borrow? I'm trying to teach a point here. If you want to make money, you want to do business, it's been my experience that normally you have to borrow from some people. That means you have to have some people who trust you, who believe in your idea. Some constituents. Okay? So that means you have to have some accountability to somebody else. Right? It's teaching you to respect others. Normally, people are more well off than you, or more set up and have more experience. So they can see if you're a fool or not. Does that make sense? Or if you have the ability to prove it to them. Does that make sense, everybody? Yes. So you have to borrow money a lot of times in order to get ahead. And I've started a couple of businesses before, and I went to my elders and shot my dream and my idea, and they said yay or nay. And that was dependent on whether I went any further. Or I could spend the rest of my life struggling to get that big money, and once I got it, then I don't need to invest it, right? If I can make if it costs $100,000, and I got $100,000, then what do I need to open up a business for if I got $100,000? Well, don't say that to these businessmen. They say, well, you know. But you guys get my point, right? So that's why we say, contracts and sharing if profits are made. A lot of people think, well, I invested my money. Where's my it's been a week. Where's my money? It's been a month, Afi. No, if profits are made.
No.
Okay? We have to understand that. If profits are made. And the techniques to use in the practice of trade. So we're saying this is more than just a rhyme, it's a lesson. And what we should expect and what we should teach our people to expect when we're talking about business. Okay? Now, buying is bad in the regular sense. But it's contracts and deals that make businessmen tense. That's right. Their whole thing is about getting that contract. They'll fly around the world to sit down with you face to face, take you to play golf and do whatever they want in order to get you to sign a nice contract. So you need to learn the rules for that, because kickbacks are illegal in Islam. Kickback is like, okay, you coming over to my company to shoot to me for your husband's company, right? And I put you up in a nice place. I give you a nice gift and all this other stuff. Hit you up with a little bit of travel money because you're over here. And then I give you a deal. And you say, well, you're so nice to me. And you sign a deal. No, man. All that you got to give it back to him. This is what they gave me. Everything. They gave me this money. They gave me this, that, and the other thing. It's all his. Because I didn't give it to you because of you. You get my point? I gave it to you because you represent him. So really, I'm giving it to his company representative. Is that, now, if you hold that up, now, what, that's going to make you make a good deal for me. You see how I stole your allegiance? Does that make sense? Yeah. So, he don't got to know that you're going to give it to, I mean, the other guys don't got to know that you're going to give the stuff up, but you know, right? So you go in there and you still fight for that good deal for your company, for your constituents. Does that make sense, everybody? Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. So now buying is bay. Now in this poem, different from the other poem, each one of the terms will be described and explained in the poem. Okay? Why did we do that here? Because most people know this. Sadly, this is about all we know. Is some of the ibadah issues. We haven't a lot of times graduated to these other issues. Now buying is bay in the regular sense.
Buying is made in the regular sense.
But it's contracts and deals that make businessmen tense. No shady cat or partnerships that we can use when seeking risk. So now shady cat, what is shady cat?
Business.
Got my point, guys? So you got to know. Now we're not getting into all the details, but shady cat are the types of partnerships that you can get involved in and the ones that you cannot. You got to know those, right? So you don't get in a bad partnership. No shady cat or partnerships that we can seek when seeking risk. What's seeking risk mean?
Seeking provision.
Seeking wealth, trying to get paid, right? Trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, right? And when someone won't pay their debt, then Hajj is what you implement. Hajj, capital H. And when someone won't pay their debt, then Hajj is what you implement. Hajj is if someone won't pay their debt, then we go and we snatch his passport. We put him on house arrest.
Restriction.
We restrict we lock down his bank account. We don't send Bubba yet. Because he's a businessman. He shouldn't be doing too many things and he owes us money and has refused to pay. Does that make sense? So now he can do whatever normative business practices he can do to continue to make money to pay us off, but he can't do certain things that's going to, just flee town or do something like that. You get my point? But it's certain type of monetary restrictions or physical restrictions to make him and encourage him pay us back. And when someone won't pay their debt, then
Hajj is what we implement.
Bubba's what we he said, then we call Tony, right? And when someone won't pay their debt, we say it.
Hajj is what we implement.
You gotta say it one after the other. It has to come click to the next one so you have it in your mind. And when someone won't pay their debt, then
Hajj is what we implement.
the ideas of borrowed source, well, gossip is to
Take by force.
idea. Idea. Ideas of borrowed source, well, gossip take by force. Okay? So these are two other things. The idea is when something that you borrow. Okay? And gossip is something you take without permission. You should take by force. In fact, rape is called gossip. Okay? Does that make sense?
King did in
Musa, like the king tried to do. But see, we're talking now with business now, okay? So it's in that type of way as well. Does that make sense, guys? So if you're interested, you want to know, well, I never knew that exists. Well, good. Now you go look up and say, okay, I get it. Does that make sense? No. The ideas of borrowed source, well, gossip is to
take by force.
By its agreement, slaves are free.
And
we'll get blessings for good deeds, right? That's said because you get an extra barakah for freeing a slave. Now we say, hold on, but the slavery still exists? Come on. Seriously, slavery still exists. Just globally it still exists. Who saw just not too long ago pictures of people in Libya? The Africans in Libya trying to make their way across the ocean, getting snatched up by our Muslim brothers and treated and put in slavery. Okay? Not just that, in Florida, they found some people out in the swamp. These people were slaves. They found them, but they ain't put it on TV a lot, right? Because those white guys did it to some people. You get my point? You get my point, guys? Not only that, forget just Hawaii. United States locks up over 10 million people a year. Okay? That's considered slavery by the Constitution. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist in these states unless when duly convicted of a felony. Does that make sense? So then what that happens here is that you can make this tea longer, please. What can happen here is once these guys get out of jail, we have a lot of Muslim brothers in jail. And when they get out, they usually have a fine, don't they? They usually have fines, overbearing fines. Restitution. They say it's restitution, but it's oppression. Okay? We're supposed to pay those. Who says, what'd you say, left?
No.
Oh, you one of them. Now look, what's the proof? What did we do with Salman al-Farisi? We paid his restitution. Salman al-Farisi had an overwhelming debt on him, didn't he? For him to get his freedom, they had to give him a big nugget of gold, and they had to plant a certain amount of trees. Right? What did the Muslims do? Everybody came with those seeds. And they helped, and they got him the money that he needed to get out of that debt. That's setting the precedence for us to help the brothers who, now of course there should be some criteria to wonder, because some people will come and fake to be Muslim and get out. But those other people who we know to be Muslim, we know they're Islam. We have people who are attached to the prisons and stuff like that. Like Bilal Phillips, who has a correspondence course with people in prison, educating them. Okay? And he's not even here. Is that sad? You know what I'm saying? Sending Islamic education to the people in prison, so we know who those people are. They get out, we can help them get out that restitution, get out of that overwhelming debt, and free them up, and now they can become more competent in the society, because now they're taking sometimes 30% of those people's paycheck. What does it force them to do? Something illegal. To work under the books or something like that, just so they can get some money. And wind up, if they don't pay it, what happens to them? They get sent back to jail. Okay? And if they get in the office and start beefing and yelling loud, they lock them up again. Does that make sense? So by agreement, slaves are free. So we can make agreements with these people and free them. Okay? And also slavery in South Africa, where they're taking people from Namibia. They take people from Namibia, ship them to other places in Pretoria and different places, make them work in the mines. If they die, who cares? They're not from there anyway. These things happen. So, freeing slaves. In a practical sense, even in the States, those people who are on probation and parole and have monies that they owe, and we know that they're Muslim, we help them get out of those things. And you get blessings for those good deeds. And we need to set up programs for that. By agreement, slaves are free, and you get blessings for good deeds. Al-Qaf are called the scholarships, endowments, or the public gifts, endowments and or? Scholarships. Okay. Al-Qaf or waqf. Just what waqf? Well, waqf. Waqf is the proper term. Al-Qaf is the plural of it. So what is a waqf? The public gifts, endowments and or? That's exactly what it is. A waqf is a public gift. What is this masjid? It's supposed to be a waqf. Who owns it? The public is supposed to own it. The community. Does that make sense? It's an endowment. It's when you put money in. The rules for an endowment, putting money for it to help people do things, okay? Like education. And scholarships. Those people qualify so we can get them educated and get them skills so they can trade, right? Right. There's so many men that don't have skills that we can help them get maybe their CDL or maybe their welding license. No. Now we have someone who's competent who can make money. But maybe they can't afford to do that. Well, we're supposed to set up to do that for them, to help them go. Yeah, they can pay us back. Does that make sense? No. That's why you have people, alumnus. They come and put some back. And then that helps the whole thing, the process going like that. And we have families now. Right? Because now he can pay the dowry for our daughters, and he can continue to provide a home and an income. But if we don't care, then who's going to marry her? Okay? Especially if we just keep educating her, and then she has to meet this mental midget, and she's not going to be, kufuwa laha. There's not going to be any kufuwa. No suitability. Does that make sense? So, we have to do things. If we don't, then we are going to suffer the cause of that, the consequence of these inactions. And I don't really believe in inaction. Any action is an action. And inaction is an action because it's a decision. And it has consequences. Does that make sense? Al-Qaf are called the public gifts, endowments, and or
Scholarships.
Wasaya are the wills we leave, the ones we love, our
Legacies.
There you go. Wasaya. Wasaya are the wills we leave. Wasaya. From Watawaso. Wasaya. Come on, don't be cheap with the space, man. Look, wait. Give some space here. Give it a little space, okay? Wasaya. Don't you know the word wasaya? Watawaso bil-haqqi watawaso bis-sabr. You know the word.
Use capital S for that.
The capital S for the wasaya. Wasaya is the term. It's the legacies. That's when we say, oh, look, I'm going to give this amount, 1/3 of my wealth for this, for that, for the other thing. Does that make sense? Fara'id makes inheritance the last show of
Beneficence.
beneficence. And fara'id is different from wasaya. Fara'id are the rights of inheritance. There ain't no playing with that. So wasaya, I decide what fara'id is my child's right, capital D. Does that make sense?
Is there something left after that for you to give?
It's the wasaya. The wasaya is after the fara'id, it's 1/3. Or 1/3 kathir. Or thuluthun kathir, as the Prophet said. You can give up to 1/3 in wasaya. See, this would make, which this makes you think, hey, you can give up to 1/3. The other 2/3 has to go to the fara'id. Because that makes sense? So this is what you get to know by knowing what's there. The purpose for memorizing this list is to become an educated consumer. I'm teasing, becoming educated in what you get. This is your life, right? This is your deen, right? Every aspect of your life or half your life now is on this board. Because what you learned about this is that everything in your life is under one of 4 things. And so that teaches you to compartmentalize and say, hey, is this an act of ibadah? Or is this part of business transactions? Or is this part of family provisions or family law? Or is this part of legal procedures, offenses of law? Which one is this situation I'm in now? What do we say? The faqih knows what he has to do, right? The competent adult is the? I'm sorry.
The confident, the conscientious one.
The conscientious adult is the competent one, right? Aware of every ruling on whatever he wants done. Okay? So why? Because he knows what section it is, right? And before he knows it, then if he doesn't know, he goes and finds out. Does that make sense? And that's how we become competent. By being conscious of what the sections are. Even if we don't know, we can't remember how so many times, but we know in general what the subjects are. And what fell under that, so that we can now determine, hey, sometimes it gets you a little gray. When you're talking about wasaya and fara'id, the reason why we put them down here, because even though they're business transactions, they bleed into what? Family law, right? You get my point? The line gets gray. And we fall into family provisions, right? Including the meals, then it's including the wasaya and the fara'id. But not necessarily fara'id, because I can give wasaya to anyone. But normally it's to my relatives or stepchildren or something like that. Does that make sense? Yes. So even the order, we started with bay because that's the head of the chapter. It's all about buying and selling. Then sharikat, because no man usually has a business by himself normally, right? He has some type of partners. Even if he owns a business, he's doing business in other partnerships, right? So, and then hajjum because you want your money. And then you borrow. And some people miscellaneously take. And now we're talking about doing these other types of, some people might say, hey, this agreement is a legal procedure. And a waqf. So some of this becomes under other titles depending on who you follow. Does that make sense? So we'll see, but there's different. I don't put it there for a reason. When you get the legal procedures, you'll see why. Because the things under legal procedures are not these types of things. At all. Okay? Does that make sense? Hey, well. So it'll all make sense when we get there. Now I want you guys to restrict yourself to memorize these 2 and know them like a poet. Know it like a poet. Recite it over and over. Think about it. Don't even worry about it. If you need to look up, then you can say, okay, well, let me learn a little bit more about that. The poems in the book. Oh, you guys don't have that book. Don't worry about that book yet. No. We're not doing that book. Okay. Not yet. And it's not that it's a nice book, but it's not what we're at now. We're really not here to study each and every one of these. We're at first grade fiqh. And first grade fiqh, just for example, here in Salah, we're talking about, the types of Salah from the angle of who has to make Salah. What are the conditions for the one who offers Salah, right? What is the condition? His Islam, being mubaligha, being sane. You guys get my point? And then the types of Salah, there's Salatul Jama'ah and Salatul Jum'ah. Two different right there, right? And then what are the fara'id of the Salah? You get my point? That's what's studied here. Whereas in first grade fiqh, all we study about, we learn that there are 17 types of Salah, right? I wake up and I have to pray 2 rak'ah to start the day. Before sunrise, Fajr is prayed. Afterwards, Duha was claimed. It's istikhara on the spot. Before I work those plans, I plot. And then when the sun gets past midday, I'll offer Dhuhr right away. Or Jummah, but that's once a week, like Eid Salah. It's short and sweet. And had it rained in weeks and weeks, prayed istisqa, now my roof leaks. And also I'll be qanateen, save both my dunya and my deen. I tried to fix that leaky roof, the sun eclipse. I prayed Kusuf. Mujahideen walked past my house. In battle, pray Salatul Khawf. Pray Taubah, one replied and said, when bad deeds hurt your heart and head. Pray Maghrib and stay wide awake, so Isha is not missed by mistake. Then stand at night, Qiyamul Layl, with witr, and you'll never fail. Janazah will be much too late to offer prayers you didn't make. That's 17 types of Salah. Do we know them?
Yes.
You get my point? We may know them all, but can you name them if you put on the spot? We'll get them. But that lessens the commitment of our children. Our children are facing so much nonsense. Look at this couple of last weeks. I've been dealing with so many families with the children wanting to practice Christmas, okay, and the New Year's. So we've been explaining, and then one child said, "Man, you know what? I can't stand the Muslim holidays." And I understand. Don't you cringe at the Eid? We don't even know if we're going to pray together. It's so much beef. When the Eid comes, do you understand how that is affecting our children? You get my point? It's dysfunctional. Are we going to pray the Eid with this group? Are we going to pray with that one? Or that country? Or this one? Or the message going to split? And they're going to say, I can't stand Saudi. Or spit on Pakistan. And you're like, well, where's all of this? What's it got to do with the deen? Right? So then look what the effect of that's going to happen. The children will be like, I don't want no part of that. I'm done. I'm out. I'm going to go over here where this is a little bit more organized. And they are. They're doing it. They say 1 out of every 4 immigrant Muslim who's come to the United States has become Catholic. They have a thing. Somebody sent it to me from Georgia. They got a big banister showing, what they say, ex-Muslim, godless and happy or something like that. It's this big advertisement they got in Atlanta. They're promoting that. What they don't tell you is that Islam is still the fastest growing deen in the United States. So I say, let out whoever wants to get out. And let in whoever wants to get in. However, it doesn't mean that we don't have a problem that we shouldn't address. And that we should find practical ways of dealing with this issue. These types of issues. And stop letting this type of dysfunction ruin the spirit of our deen, especially for our young ones, who have common sense to know that I don't want no part of this, if this is the way it is. Can you blame a girl for not wanting to wear the khimar when you didn't put it on until she was 15? She spent her whole, look what the child goes through at 2 years old. The terrible tools. I learned about the terrible tools. Why? Because think about it. The whole life of that child, up to that point, everybody's been saying you're the best thing since ice cream. Right? Whatever you do is cute. Right? Oh, man, let her get ahead. Oh, she put on the bed. She's doing this. Oh, man. And then all of a sudden, you're 2 years old. It ain't cute no more. Stop. Who you telling to stop? No, you stop, mama. Say, oh, man, we not doing all that. You're in the wrong part of town. You get my point? And now the baby has to go through this, hey, you telling me not to do stuff I can't do. I ain't got to listen to nobody because they've never heard it before, right? So you got to take it from their perspective. Now you're telling them limits where they never had them before. And if it was cute just yesterday, it takes them a whole year sometimes. Sometimes till they're 16 to get out of that, that vanity, that Eve, they call it in psychology. Me, me, me. The whole world makes tawaf around me because we did. Now just imagine a child, a young lady, and I say the ladies because the ladies, we enforce the rule of dress on the ladies more than we do on the men. The men have a hard time with dressing Islamically, ladies, not the women. Okay? Not the women. It's hard to get a man to wear kufi these days. Hard to find a man to wear and make his dress appropriate for whatever he's doing and covering his outer, his backside. I'm not going to see his butt, right? But if a woman were to do that, oh, stop for the you calm. Seriously. But the brother, you see the brother got shorts, everything's out, his belly showing, his front, back, kubal and dubal. No.
Coming to the man.
Coming to the man and talk about it. So we got a serious problem, brother. But then just imagine this girl, the 15-year-old girl I'm talking about now. Now she's muballigh, and the only reason you put the khimar on is because she came home with Johnny. Okay, some kafir dude saw interest in it. And he said, no, that ain't going down. Here, you're supposed to be wearing the khimar. Whoa! Where all this come from? Do you wonder why she rejects it? But when you do it to the small little child, age appropriately, something see-through, something pretty, she has time to develop her own style, right? And to try different ways where it's allowed. Take it off when she's small, put it back on. She starts to see it as part of dressing up. There's some sense to it. Does that make sense? Because by the time she's 15, she's resisting. No, man, that's not what I'm doing. I don't care what you say. Because you've given me a different impression of what is pretty, right? You've been showing me all these queens and princesses and stuff like that. You ain't showing me no sultanas, right? You didn't show me no Islamic queens and princesses. So all I'm looking at is the Eurocentric princesses. So I want to look like that. You see where we make the problem for ourselves? Because lack of fiqh. It all comes back to fiqh. So I don't want to take up too much of the time. Alhamdulillah, I went overboard and I went on a tangent. Please memorize this right here. Memorize. Okay, like I said, this is just a table of contents so we know what the subjects are. It will get stronger. It will get stronger as we go through the other texts because we'll be mentioning these things. And I'll be repeating it over and over and over again, inshallah ta'ala, till it's redundant in your head. Okay? Till you start to answer and finish the lines for what I'm saying. Okay, because the first step is to know what's there. Then to understand why it's in this way. Okay, to get comfortable with that. Agreement with it. And then we move forward.
You had 2 more lines.
Yes. And the last line. What I do makes inheritance the last show of beneficence. So those with taqwa seek to deal, and only con men cheat and steal. So at the end of this chapter we put here, so those with taqwa seek to deal. What does that mean? They find a way within the Sharia to do whatever they want to do. Okay? They seek to deal. And only con men cheat and steal. Who you try? Like Allah says, يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. They try to trick Allah. Okay? And trick the believers.
Seek to steal.
Seek to steal.
No.
Yeah, we changed it since it's not going to. I've changed it up so many times.
Well, you got to give us the updated version.
I don't know. It's like, sometimes I change my mind. Cheat and steal, seek to steal, it's Allah's messenger, not Allah's messenger. Some of the ulama said that nobody wrote a book and said that, okay, it's finished. They changed this line, changed that. The only thing that's perfect is the Quran. And I tell everybody, this ain't Quran, so you got a better line, tell me. As long as it gets the point, we'll change. All right? All right, any questions at this time?
You want the homework?
Of course I want the homework. I forgot now. What is it?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. This is not the homework. No, this is okay.